what I want is can you hear from Property Stories? So I think by now everyone has read that DBKL has officially prohibited, outlawed partitions in all residential units, service apartments, SOHOs. Okay, the circular came out I think last week, and everyone went crazy because finally they have a clear guidelines to the MCs. The letter here, circular here, is issued to the GMB, the MCs, and clear guidelines that say this is outlawed and you're not supposed to do it anymore. So let's go through the circular. I'm putting it up on the screen right now. So it talk about perkeliling terpakai bangunan kediaman dan commercial, apartment, service, and SOHO. So anything that's residential use, you cannot put a wall. Sekatan dinding dalaman, that means inside the unit, partition inside the unit, untuk dijadikan bilik dalam petak kediaman adalah tidak dibenarkan. It's self-explanatory, tidak dibenarkan is even highlight there. You change the inner interior. So kegunaan ruang biasa, iaitu ruang tamu dan ruang makan, telah ditukar kepada ruang bilik tidur, new bedroom, menjadikan bilangan ruang bilik tidur bagi setiap unit bertambah sekaligus menjadikan ia bertentangan dengan perintah pembangunan DO. This is development order. When the developer want to submit for development, right, they have to submit this first development, get approval, architect plan, then they get approval, development order. Okay, when the council has approved, they issued a development order. So the development order is the architect plan, everything that the council already approved. So it contravenes the earlier approval. So then next is kawasan ruang tamu, sedia ada tidak dapat mendapat pencahayaan semula jadi. Yeah, actually I've been to some of the units when you actually cut off the living hall. Right now, living hall is no partition. You can actually see when you go in the house, it's very dark. The hall is very dark one. And most of the partition house, the house is in the condition is also dark one. Unit peta kediaman seolah akan disewakan menyebabkan tukar kegunaan kediaman kepada komersial dengan pertambahan ruangan bilik tidur. Here is the change of the initial use. The initial use is for residential purposes, but adding the partition, the room, it will change the original use for residential to commercial. Okay, commercial, because they want to rent out. That's why they partition. If you're staying there while you partition, right? Then the next one is that bilangan penghuni bagi sesuatu unit petak kediaman akan bertambah. Okay, of course, one house, however build up it is, the comfortable stay, maybe 5 people, 1,000 square feet, 3 rooms, right? Maybe 5 people or 6 people. But right now, it becomes, because of partition, it becomes 8. Or in some cases, it becomes 10. Because it's cramped 10 people in the room. In the house, sorry. So, of course, the number of people will stay there will be extra. So, DBKL went on to say, on top of this, mengelakkan kewujudan unit kediaman yang tidak berorientasikan reka bentuk berdasarkan kediaman dan lebih kepada asrama. This talk about hostel. Now it doesn't look like a house, it looks like a hostel. So you will increase the density of the building as more and more people stay there. Okay, the circular takes effect on the 1st of August 2023. Okay, as you can see right down there, it's 1st of August 2023. So before we move on to the next section, I would like to actually be transparent and put a disclaimer here. I'm also a property investor, okay, a small one, and I've stayed in a room, not a partition room, but I stayed in a room for a decade when I come here to KL to work. I only recently shifted to a development which has majority here are room rentals, okay. And the next one is that I've also rented out rooms in this partition unit. I've also sold units to investors to use as room rentals, and I've also been dealing also with room rental operators, okay, to find room rental operators to manage the units. So having said that, I'm not just talking here for the sake of talking. I have a skin in the game. I have investors that depend on me. I have a small group of investors that is depending on me, okay, to manage their properties. Small group. That means if any problem, I just help find them find them their handyman or find them their operators, their agents, like that. That's all. Okay, I don't collect any fees from them. It's the agents. That's the disclaimer right there. So that is my story. I am now also living in a development where most of the units here is investors, and most of the units here, quite a lot actually, is doing for room rental. Even at my floor itself, there is majority of them room rentals, and most of the owners are stay here. Okay, so I have a skin in the game directly and indirectly. We're going to talk about a few things. Actually, there's a lot here. I've written down my thought process. So we're going to talk about what happens to the current supply. Okay. Next one is like we're going to talk about landlords and how I think that you can move forward with this new ruling. And then we're going to talk about some of the things that people actually talk in the market. Like if let's just say the supply drops, so room rental price or rental price will go up, is it? And my predictions for the future. We're going to talk about my personal experience, okay? Staying in a place where there's room rentals, and I also have did sales and all this. So what I'm going to do as well for myself, and also I will explain to my investors, like if they, what to do lah, okay? So the first things first is that what's going to happen to the current supply? The current supply, right, most likely is just going to be business as usual, BAU, okay? I think most of them will just follow this circular from this condominium that I got from. Okay, this circular here, the JMB is very efficient. Immediately issued the 1 day after the DBKL circular. So in this circular, right, you can see in the screen, the JMB would say that will not further approve any renovation is similar that is for this like room rental. So if you are halfway in renovation, you need to stop immediately. And if you want to continue, no problem. You get the Commissioner of Building KL written approval, then we let you continue. Okay? So the second one is those who already did prior to 1st of August, because this circular, DBKL circular, is effective from 1st of August this year, 2023. Okay? So prior to that, on or before 31st of July 2023, if already done, then it's BAU. That means they're not going to check anymore. That means already approved prior to that, done, okay. Then we return back your deposit. The second one, any inspection to refund the deposit after your renovation is done. So if the inspection is done on the last day 31st, on or before 31st of July, which is 1 day before the circular takes effect. DBKL circular takes effect on the 1st of August 2023. Then yes, they will just return back your deposit. Okay? With immediate effect, any renovation deposit, renovation deposit for any unit that still proceed with the intention of such renovation, whereby you want a partition for rooms, shall not be processed. That means they will forfeit your deposit. I think deposit is 5,000. Usually, the condo that I know is about 5,000. As is in compliance once inspected, management will hold until an appeal or written approval letter from Commissioner of Building is given to the JNB. Okay? So that means you as the owner, you have to do all this. And if you look at the circular, right, the letter is not addressed to any owners. It's addressed to the JNB. The circular, you can see on the screen, is addressed to the JNB MC. Why this just... When you see the circular official letter, it's always up there is DBKL, right? Or any government agency that's responsible. But right here is straightway to these people, because they got no manpower to actually enforce this, right? It's impossible to enforce like thousands of condos and spot check one by one. You will sure need the cooperation of GMC and MC. Okay? This condo circular also states that they will not approve any more requests to renovate if such renovate for room partition. Okay, that means maybe if you send for renovation, they will request you to provide a drawing first, and if the drawing is not the same as what you said, what you submitted, and what they inspected, they will forfeit your deposit. Okay, please note that the next one is that owners shall bear the responsibility and the cost to revert to the original design if requested by authorities. What it means here is that, let's just say you go ahead anyway. You don't want to listen, you go ahead anyway. But if you're reported, what will happen is that the authorities will ask the owner to revert back to original, and the cost is on the owner himself. You're not just losing that 5,000. Okay, if the authorities come, you are actually liable and you need to revert back to original. All the cost is to be borne by you. If you do not comply, the legal action will be taken against you. So knowing this new ruling from DBKL, landlords, how did they move forward? Well, if you look at the circular again, it's addressed to JMB and MC, right? So DBKL actually acknowledges the fact that they do not have the manpower to actually enforce these rules. Because how could they have any manpower to enforce this? It's thousands of units all around KL, right? So what will happen is this. I predict those who have already done their partitions, you continue as normal. However, you have to make sure your tenant is behaving. Because remember, just one report to the JNB and that's it. The authorities, COB, Commissioner Building KL or DBKL, can ask you to actually remove your partition and provide proof. And the cost will be on you. If you do not comply, they will prosecute you. Okay? However, having said that also, let's just say we talk about development where there's a lot of investors actually doing room rentals also. So basically, we talk about development has lesser units and most of the units are owned by investors. I don't think you have this problem because your JMB and or the MC is actually, well, it's on your side anyway because you have the majority of the people who will vote against the motion. Okay. Having said that, I still think that even this rules is here, the rules of the government, any rules of the government actually supersedes whatever the JNB and MC can do. Remember, so the tenant can, if complain to the JNB not doing anything, the tenant has a right to go direct to the government, COB or DBKL. Remember this. Next issue they'll be talking about, let's just say now you ban room rentals, right? So the supply will go down, right? A lot of people, the reason they want to rent rooms is because they got not much money to rent a whole unit, and this whole unit is expensive. So that's why they rent rooms. Even I myself rent rooms when I first come here, okay? So supply go down. I don't think that is the case because you can see there's new supplies all the time, everywhere. Even the places where you have like 1 acre of land, they'll be building high-rise there if there's a demand for housing in that area, okay? Of course, the area I'm talking about is always, not always, most of the time it's close to public transport. That's the reason why people want to rent rooms in this place, because it's closer to their workplace, closer to public transport. That's the only reason they are willing to pay, okay? So if for those who can't afford the rent, even though after the supply has dropped, the room rentals will go up, you can't afford the rent, now you will go outskirts. You maybe stay like half an hour to 45 minutes away from your office, because using public transport. But the rooms there, the price will be reasonable, okay? Or the units there, the whole units there, the price will be reasonable. So you can actually still take the public transport to work. For those who perhaps don't have the office like let you work from home, you also can work from home. So I don't think the supply issue will make a lot of difference, honestly, because there's so many supplies out there for empty units. Units that are empty, even rentals is good. Even rental is low, people don't want rent because maybe they are far. Now, you actually disperse them across Klang Valley, number one. And second, the room rentals, the price, I don't think can go up unless you're in the prime area. So not a cause of concern. One thing that I foresee, people who are staying there in the development where there's room rentals and they are feeling inconvenient, they're not happy, they will take this chance to complain to the authority. They will go on a witch hunt, which they have the right to do right now. So they will go on a witch hunt and DBKL will be issuing these owners, or COBKL will be issuing these owners a letter saying that you have to revert to the original state, okay? Or else we prosecute you. I foresee that will happen. And this, right, will indirectly will make the place have better safety and increase the price overall long term. Okay, long term, because less supply in the market, more people won't stay. So you have less supply, the price will go up, right? Demand will go up. That's just basics. So I think the next question that we all be asking is, why now? What is going to happen in the future? So these are my personal take, what's going to happen and why now. Well, room rentals, these partitions has always been a great idea because it's a fire hazard. Basically, whatever material you can use, you add extra there. You can say whatever you want, but at the end of the day, it's recognized as a fire hazard. The firefighters, even the firefighters department, they do not encourage this, but people still go on because it's great idea and there's no guidelines governing that. So you see this in a lot in landed properties, especially those near universities. Okay, one landed house they partition to like 10 rooms and then rent out per room to increase the rental yield. That this is greedy landlords are greedy because you buy it and you get higher yield. And after, as you wait for the price to appreciate, then you can sell, right? So this goes on to also high rise. Now we're talking about high rise. So when this fire hazard happens, if the property caught fire, the insurance company, the fire insurance is, they have the right to deny a claim. Because once they found that you partition, of course, based on the investigation, you will definitely be denied claim if the house went on fire and razed to the ground. Okay, so some parties have been saying that rental will increase due to lesser rooms available for rent. I've addressed it earlier. I don't think it will be the case because the center one, those that cannot afford the rental, they will move out. Okay, and this one, frankly speaking, there's so many supplies coming out to the market right now. The reason why they need to do room rentals is because the property price has been crazy. It's already been expensive as fuck. Of course, the investors will need to find a way to get a yield, right? Just to cover the bank loan, right? Because it's already expensive. That's the reason room rentals is happening. So rental increase due to lesser rooms. Maybe in certain areas where you have a limited supply but high demand. But most of the time, I don't think so. Most of the areas, I don't think so. You will just disperse like I mentioned, just disperse the population out to further from the city. That's it. And I predict that places that near public transport, right, will benefit. Because as they disperse, right, the first place they will look at is the place with public transport. So they don't mind actually commuting 30 to 45 minutes from their home nearby public transport to their workplace. Use the LRT, use the train. They don't even need a car. So this is what already happening. Some places they may stay at KL, may work at KL Central, but stay somewhere very far in Watson to take about 45 minutes. The next question is, will this ruling expand to other states? My prediction is they may, but slowly. And already Penang, you see they ban Airbnbs, right? They ban Airbnbs and also I think the room rentals will be next. But this is a sticky matter, because as you recall, the land matters, right, is the state matter. The state and the federal, although they share the Ministry of Housing, is a Ministry of Housing, but they are Ministry of Housing power and execution, right, when it comes to the land matters, are limited powers. So Kuala Lumpur being under the federal government, is a federal territory, right, they can actually implement this. But let's see. My prediction is that once it's implemented here and things are looking good, you will spread out to other states. Depends on whether the state want to implement or not. Okay. Next, will Airbnb and short-term industry be affected? Of course. After room rental, right, Airbnb I think is more popular than room rental because let's face it, you rent out per night, and then tourism is booming. Places like some places are just Airbnb focused. Tourism are booming. They can earn 5-digit gross rental a month from that unit. So will this be affected? Yes. Once the room rental is banned, the next one I believe they're going to go after is Airbnb. Okay, and there will be very little places where you can still do Airbnb. That is purely residential. Purely commercial properties. Okay, purely commercial meaning non-HDA properties. Then you'll be allowed to do Airbnb. The next one, a lot of people will say more auction on the horizon, especially as people can't service their loan. Or if you have to partition your room, partition the unit, so many units just to afford the loan, then you deserve it. Because the property is already expensive to begin with. You know why you need to partition room, okay? Is all of us need to work together. Is our buyers of real estate and also the everybody in the industry. You trust your guru, right? Where property, room rental can make money, so you buy. Now what happened? So the onus is on you to choose the right property for your investment. You choose and say no to overpriced properties. Developers are not stupid. Developers know this. Agents know this. At the end of the day, the only one that is not making money is you. Okay? You're buying overpriced properties. You're making your gurus rich, your developers rich, your agents rich, your banks rich. Everybody's rich except you. If you buy overpriced, that's on you. You think how to settle it. Okay? You think how to settle it. Either you can sell or reduce the principal and sell. For those who just bought just live, you expect there's no capital appreciation, right? So you want to sell also cannot be hard, right? You have to find a way to actually live with it at the moment, and then find a way to sell it. I will touch on what are the things that you can do, if let's just say you find it hard to service your loan in the future videos. I'm actually making one, but I will release it soon because I kind of get some inquiries already for this. So having said that, more options in the market, maybe okay. But like I mentioned earlier, if you can't rent out as a one unit and you need to partition, you are already paying a lower price property. If you can rent out and most people will say you can cover 80% of your loan, right? It's okay, then go ahead. Maybe it's a good property to buy. Not all properties are like that, because sometimes you 80% cover, you bleed 20% every month, you think it's okay, right? I don't know how long you bleed, bleed until indefinitely, but that is a story for another day. You can do another video for this. For now, more auction, maybe, but I don't think so, because most of them that is going now auction now is due to the moratorium over. You recall that with COVID time, we have 1 year moratorium. 1 year moratorium, and now only we start seeing the repayment and then the auction come up. Actually, last year it started. That is why you notice that your banks are increasing the rates. OPR also increasing rates. And they are tightening their lending guidelines. Okay? In the midst of all this, they're tightening their lending guidelines because they're seeing the NPL going up. There's nothing to do with room rentals or anything happening like that. Okay. Next, what's going to happen to the room rental operators? Room rental operators, I don't know, but if I were to be in your situation, I will look for another source of income. I would not just depend on room rentals. Because having said this kind of guideline coming out, right, what will happen is that I think you're going to be out of job unless you are a professional. And the building is specifically built for room rentals, or co-living as you will call it now. Yes, there are buildings that is built for co-living. There is purpose built for co-living. So they have a facility, they have everything there built for co-living, like commune living in Bangsa, Makassar by UOA. We have Cocoon co-living in KL, I think Jalan Plaza or something. I can't remember. But these two buildings are built specifically for co-living. Co-living here means you can stay one night, or you can stay a long term, maybe 1 year, 2 years, just like renting a house. Okay? Just like renting a room. Then actually it's a room, it's more of a room because it's a very small place. But the good thing is that you don't have to maintain it, because every day they'll have a cleaning facility. Every day they'll come and clean for you. And if you want, you can also tell them how to clean. Okay? Then you have place for you to do meetings, for you to work, for you to mingle around. So this is what co-living is. It's like hostel living, but for adults, they call it co-living. Okay? Check out Commune Living by UOE and also Cocoon Living, Cocoon Co-Living. If you are room rental operators and you like this kind of business model, I suggest that you actually get certified for all this. You maybe can do another hotel, a budget hotel, do a business. Since you already have the experience, you already have the contact, try to work for property manager company. Okay, work for property management company and slowly get a license. That is one way you can actually go up if you're still interested in the industry and want to go delve deeper. Get a license for property management. If you do not want, you can always pivot. This is your business. Last but not least, I would like to share with you my personal experience and also what I'm going to do, what I'm going to share with my investors today. Okay. First, I myself stay in a place where some of the units here are room rentals. Okay. Some of the units here are also partitions. I've rented out units, like I mentioned earlier in the video. So sometimes, right, it's really a concern of safety. On top of what the DBKL say, safety. Imagine today I go out. Yeah, in this day and age, we don't know our neighbors, but when I go out, at least I can know who is best staying where, and they are staying for stay okay. But this one, no. I go out, every time I see new faces. I don't know where they come from, so I don't know whether they come in legally or illegally. Also, I don't know, because even when you tell that the rules is that you have to get your tenancy agreement stamp, then I give you the access card, right? The thing is that the security is also quite lax, and most of the condos, I think, is like that, where it's easy for you to duplicate a card, and then you duplicate a card, give to your friends, come in, or the agents will actually rent it out and duplicate the card and give the tenant come in. Anything were to happen, we don't even know who's the one staying in the unit, and we don't even know that the person is staying here actually. Even at the floor where you need to go in the parking, right? Anybody can just duplicate a card, go in the parking and come out. That's it. You don't know. The next one is parcel. Don't need to mention about parcel. They put a parcel down there. I think a lot of people also, if you live in condo, right? Your condo don't have a special lock box for parcel. This is a risk you take. Your parcel go missing. Okay. So another one is also increased traffic congestion in the area, like what DBKL mentioned. Outside of my condo, my place here, the people double park is very normal. And then sometimes the police will come and shoot with someone. There's also more wear and tear about the facility. Actually, this one is something that you didn't mention. If you stay here, then you will notice. Imagine that the house has usage for 5 people. Then suddenly you add like 6, 7, until 8 people. Do you think that you will use the lift lesser? No, right? Lift, swimming pool, everything, the wear and tear get more and use more than it should. So it's easy to break down. Things like in the gym equipments, all this easy to break down. So this is one of the challenge we face. Of course, fire hazard, the next one that we talk about fire hazard is a partition. Okay? Remember, fire hazard in one unit doesn't mean the other units are safe. When fire hazard one unit means the flammable is very fast to spread. It may have cause more damage than it should. Next one is for my investors, right? For those who already did BAU, I already mentioned that this BAU, and just make sure that the tenant is don't bring nuisance to the unit. Okay? Tenant have no reason, don't give any reason for the GMB to report. That's it. Moving forward, what I'll do is I will filter down the investment if I do take any for sale. If the whole unit rental can't cover like maybe 80% of the load of the installment, of the 80% of the installment, because 80% of installment, remember, is your interest. For the first 5 years, you're paying like 80 to 90% is interest. So if they can cover the interest, then okay. Then we can proceed forward. If I have to do like any creative one like now, room rental, Airbnb, that investment property, the property I will remove it out from my shortlist. That's what I will do. Okay. What's done is done. The first thing that you remember is what's done is done. What we can do is only to move forward and look forward on how to make things better. Okay. At the end of the day, whether we like it or not, we are already owners of this property. Okay, owners of this property, we also sold this property. So we have to be responsible to our investors and our customers that trust us. Okay. I think the best way forward, right, is to be honest. Is to be honest about what we can and cannot do and what we're going to do about it. Then it's up to the customers and investors to actually decide whether they still want to follow you or not. This is to all the real estate agents and also the people in the property industry. So I think that's all for today. This is Kenny here from Public Service, and I'll see you again next meeting.